Ladies and gentlemen, turn your speakers up. It's time for the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast. A podcast discussing all things AEW and WWE. Oh yeah! Let's meet the hosts. First, a man hailing from the hub city in Indiana. He goes by @TooSweetKyle on Twitter. The host, Kyle Gagliardi. And her co-host, hailing from the Valley of Lake Tahoe. He goes by @JimTuck89 on Twitter. Jim Tucker. And last but not least, hailing from the cornfield somewhere in Indiana, the full-time part-timer, Ian Garavaglia. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram @PodOnTheMark.
Come Tuesday, I love that idea. What is going on, everybody? Well, you are listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast, hosted by the Marks, for the Marks, and I am your host, Mr. OTM, Kyle Gagliardi. And my co-host this evening is my great friend, Ian Garavaglia, as known in the main event world as the Podcast Son. Sir, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was not on last week's episode, but I think I would say I had a good excuse. I had free tickets to a 21 Savage concert, 6th row, and my left ear is finally coming back. I could not hear out of my left ear for a good 3 days afterwards, so my balance is back. I am not wobbling around. It was loud and very fun. However, I did miss the podcast, and I missed all of you guys that are listening right now, besides Kind. So, yeah.
I'll tell you what, it was a pleasure having Tino on the show. He brought a lot of people into the chat, which was awesome to see. A very contentious MVM race was happening, Ian. A lot of controversy, mainly just from a guy that goes by the name of Kine. I don't know if you saw that screenshot that our friend, the Great Brown Hope, captured from last week's episodes, but if you would like to address that comment from Kine right now, I'm giving you the floor.
I mean, why should I address him? That's my main concern. Why would I take time out of this beautiful podcast that we host every single week and have gained a very loyal and friendly family, I would say. Not even a fan base, but Kine, not really a part of that family. He kind of tunes in every now and then, tries to get his MVM back, which on my watch for this week, it's going to be hard to get my vote, Kine. You're really going to have to impress me, but this man's pulling out Big Show heel and face turns, and it's kind of getting ridiculous. Honestly, I'm tired. I'm just mentally drained, physically drained, emotionally drained. And Kine, I think it's about time that you pick a side. And maybe we find that out today, so stay tuned.
Yeah, Kine's a flip-flopper, man. You know, I sent that Big Show gif on X, and that's the vibes I got too. But I do like his comment here. He said OTM Live is definitely a come Tuesday. I had to throw that in there because, Ian, we don't tweet out that video every Tuesday anymore, which is, very sad. But I feel like it wouldn't be right now that Von Wagner is no longer a part of the WWE.
It's sad. I really didn't watch a single one of his matches, but it's very sad. It's sad that he's gone. I miss seeing the tweets every single Tuesday and hearing the stories about Jim Tucker and his student bringing up the Come Tuesday tweet every single week, which is we'll miss him. We'll miss him. He'll be back somewhere, probably in AEW, I'm sure. But
yeah,
come Wednesday,
a lot of rumors going around of potential names going to AEW, like a Rebecca Quinn.
Oh my gosh!
Which I'm going to sit on the record right now and say there is zero chance that Becky Lynch goes to any other company other than the WWE.
If anything, she retires.
And she don't even need to do that.
She
like, just go off and be a mother for like a year. Come back, you'll be treated like royalty.
Exactly.
It's the way to do things. So, hey, good luck to Becky and whatever she decides to do here in the next coming months, because I believe her contract is up June 1st, and even kind showing his respects. Rest in peace, Von Wagner gifts every Tuesday. Yep, R.I.P. to my boy. But nonetheless, before we get into WWE's King and Queen of the Ring and AEW Double or Nothing, don't forget to check out the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. Last week was one of the more active weeks in our website's history. We actually got 3 sales, Ian. How about that?
I love it. I love seeing it. Hopefully, if you're listening to this podcast right now, please send us a tweet. Do a hashtag. I don't know. What do you want to do for a hashtag?
For what? For purchasing
Just
something on the
showing
website?
off the merch. Yeah, showing off the swag.
Hashtag OTM merch.
Love it. Beautiful. Hashtag OTM merch. Tag us in it. We will retweet it. We'll respond to you guys. So we appreciate all the support because obviously and honestly, it all goes back here. I have not made a single cent. I know Gags has not made a single dollar off of this podcast. Yeah. It's for the love. It's for the love, and we appreciate all the support.
The love of the game. I do know Tino was one of the purchases because he did tag us in his tweet. He got himself the honorary Mark t-shirt, which still is the #1 seller. There's other good ones out there. Banger after banger. Bryan Danielson appreciation shirt. And of course, our logo, all over kinds of designs. You got hoodies, you got t-shirts, you got tank tops. We got it all at the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com. And we also have it all at the Main Event Wrestling Network. Ian, if this is somebody's first time listening to us, which, by the way, if you are, welcome to the OTM family. We greatly appreciate you. Why don't you let them know a little bit about the Main Event Wrestling Network?
I mean, like we said, we came into the podcasting for the love and wanting just to talk about wrestling because we're marks. That's all what we want to do. And we kind of had the idea one day to start a network, which is basically, I mean, there's nothing really crazy about it. It's just a group and a family of people that love wrestling and want to express that love in every single way possible. At one point, we had some artwork going around. We got bloggers, we have video makers, we have podcasters. Obviously, the podcasting crew is like the forefront, but we're looking to expand into anything. I mean, even if you make music or something, please ask about it.
I was going to say this. We sent out a couple tweets last week on the Main Event account. Specifically, TikTok content creators would be fantastic. We did bring in Ryan Matthews a month ago. He still has yet to create any content for us. So I get it. He's a busy man. We all are, but we're not getting paid for this. But if you are interested, you have created TikTok content before, just want to break some wrestling and talk wrestling on TikTok for us, please reach out at mainevent_net on all of our social media accounts. And Ian, I believe you did not get to WWE's King and Queen of the Ring, but you at least know the results. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yeah, I know what happened. I know my thoughts on what happened, and that's about it. I can't get into the details of any match.
That's fair. That's what I'm here for, because I didn't just watch it once. I got home from work today, Ian. I watched it a second time in its entirety. So I'm a dedicated mark over here. I usually watch WWE PLEs twice. You
know what I did after work today?
Slept.
I cleaned up cat pee. And then I came down here working on a Tim Vicious video, which you can check out tonight. Will be uploaded on the Main Event YouTube channel. But uploading another Tim Vicious video tonight and then going to bed. That's what I did after work today.
You're a hardworking man. We got a lot of wiffle ball on the horizon. So, yeah, definitely rest up. But let's jump into Saturday's PLE that happened in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. The show kicked off with the Women's Championship match. And, you know, going into this, I had predicted Becky Lynch to win. I thought they were going to prolong this a little bit, Ian, but as we come to find out this week after she loses her cage match on Monday Night Raw, that Becky Lynch is not under contract with the WWE, like we said earlier, after June 1st. So it makes a lot of sense for Liv Morgan to go over in this situation, in my opinion. I know you didn't watch this, but do you feel like this is the right call to put the strap on Liv right now?
Honestly, yeah, because we talked about it too. I mean, the whole Becky thing. She's not leaving. She's going to stay within WWE. And honestly, I've been saying it for a while. Becky's character has been a little lackluster. It's ran its course. It's done a wonderful job at doing so. She became one of the biggest superstars in women's history, especially.
For sure.
And I think it just needs a reset period. Plus, she's a new mother. Let her go home with Seth. Have that time off with the two, the whole entire family. This is perfect. Drop the title. And again, Rhea Ripley dropped that title. That's working out for her as well. She's off on the injury block. Hopefully she gets well soon, and hopefully it's a fast recovery. And now Liv Morgan, she's just going through her rebuilding stage, and it's catching a lot of steam, which I'm sure we're going to talk about the other stuff that happened last night or just or that one little peck that we saw.
Well, we technically didn't see it. We saw it on social media because USA Network cut us off right at the good part, I guess. But going back to the match itself was solid. I mean, I would say it's good at best. Nothing spectacular. I did like the outfits and the gear that they were wearing. Liv Morgan with a nod to Britney Spears, and I think somebody connected the dots that Becky's kind of was a nod to an old Britney Spears get-up that she had too. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but nonetheless, the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour has been a success in my opinion, and you kind of hinted towards that as well. It's not that, I mean, it's just that she is polarizing as a whole. I think her fan base is very polarizing just because they're a very vocal group on social media, but her herself, you kind of sit on, you love her or you hate her. There's really no in between. Like, let me ask you straight up, Liv Morgan, you a fan or no?
I wasn't a fan. I didn't like the underdog thing that they were going for a couple years back. I think even that might have been pre-COVID, honestly. It was around that time. But that whole undercard thing in underdog, I hated it. And I think this is exactly what she looks comfortable. That's the best thing about it. She looks like she's comfortable. She's tuning her own self up, which is, we've heard many times, that's the best way of doing a character is it's yourself tuned up to a 1,000. Yeah. So that's what it kind of feels like, and it feels natural. So that's the best way of doing something for a character, and it's, to me at least, I feel it's entertaining, and she's keeping me hooked.
Yeah, and they have that story that writes itself whenever Rhea does fully recover from that. If you don't do that match at SummerSlam, I don't think there's a better spot to do it at. I think Cleveland, SummerSlam, that could, honestly, you could make, and I know it's not going to, but you can make it a case that could main event a PLE, Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan. I don't think that's crazy to say, Ian, but we got a lot of comments coming in right now. Let's go to Kine real quick. He said, the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour is not finished. Liv's only just getting started, but she got that W. He's happy that Liv won. Thought they'd drag it out, similar to what we thought. But it's good for Liv to get it now, have her reign before Mommy comes back. See, this man's starting to understand things around here. Eric Douglas in the house. Eric, thanks for stopping by as always. He said, Becky is set to become one of the highest paid wrestlers, men or women, in the history of the business. He's right, Ian, and I don't know the validity to this rumor that I saw, but apparently WWE and AEW have offered Becky Lynch one of the largest contracts in the history of wrestling. And I would say that's deserved.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, she has become, honestly, it's arguable she has become one of the greatest women's wrestlers, at least in WWE history. I mean,
I would say her popularity is similar to Stone Cold Steve Austin in the women's division.
She is the Stone Cold of the women's division.
Right.
I think that's a perfect comparison. She is the man. And she's set her stock too, especially with her book coming out. She has a lot of validity to her character and personality. So, and it's displaying. She's selling record numbers in books. I'm sure she's going to be an award-winning bookseller. So it's good for her. It's awesome. And she's a new mother, like we said. So let's give her some time off. She'll make that bank when she comes back, whenever she does come back. So it's awesome.
To the WWE.
Yes, correct.
Let's put that on the record. We're not going to get into those rumors when she comes back to the WWE, because Becky specifically tweeted out and put on Instagram, to be continued. You can't continue something by starting over in a new company. That just wouldn't make sense. So we will see Becky Lynch back. But let's talk about what happened on Monday night then while we're at it. It's got the social media talking. The engagements are super high, I believe, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. They're already over 4 million views just on the smooch alone. But the interesting thing about the kiss is it didn't seem like Dom was reciprocating much. I don't know if you noticed that at all when you saw the clip.
Yeah, and it gave me the feeling of like, obviously she is forcing herself upon Dominic, and it's trying to get into Rhea Ripley's head. What I would like to see is Rhea Ripley making a video call somehow into next week's Raw and being like, hey, what was that about? Like, and she stays home. She does not need to be at the show. She's still home recovering,
like The Rock used to do.
Yeah, but just showing the crowd like, hey, this is Rhea Ripley seeing all this stuff. I mean, you could do it on Twitter, but not everybody's going to see it in the WWE universe. So it's interesting. We haven't seen something like this since probably the Attitude Era. I mean, we saw Bobby Lashley and Dolph Ziggler do the thing. That was bad, but nothing that seems kind of this intriguing. It's oh my gosh, what just happened? It's interesting.
Okay.
Wow.
Shit happens. Words, sentences, yada yada yada. No, it is interesting, and I think it is like a callback to kind of like the Attitude Era. You just never know what you're gonna see on Monday Night Raw, and obviously it's interesting to people because people are giving it clicks, they're liking it, and they're reposting it. So it's getting wrestling fans to talk about, which is great business. You said it. Liv's just trying to drive that wedge between Dom and Rhea Ripley. I don't think Dom is 100% sold. Yeah, you know, we could tell by the kiss. Maybe that's going to be the story for the next couple months until Mommy eventually makes her return. Regardless, I'm very excited to see how this pans out in the coming months. But let's go to the comment section here real quick. Kine says, I've been a fan of Liv since 2021. She's one of my favorites of all time, I gotta say. She didn't have a great gimmick as that underdog. Now she's in full gear, and it's amazing. She's cooking. She is cooking. And Dirk, to answer your question, this is not replacing the Thursday show. We just had 2 big wrestling PLE pay-per-views, and we wanted to get out in front because, Ian, by the time it's Thursday, I feel like that's just old news at that point.
Correct, yes.
You got to jump on these things in the IWC. We got to be the first on the case. Well, not the first, but one of the first.
Yeah.
Eric asked, do you think there is a chance Liv could win the Chamber and have a massive match at Mania? To answer your second question, I think she could have a massive match at Mania. I don't think she's getting to Elimination Chamber with that championship, though, Ian. I think she'll probably lose to Rhea.
That's a good question because we don't know the severity of the injury. We don't know how long because, I mean, you still have the whole entire story of Judgment Day. Liv Morgan can break down the Judgment Day throughout, 3 months or so. You could drag out that story. And I don't think that would get tiring because Judgment Day has become such a staple within, especially Raw. I don't know. Weekly episodic television, it goes pretty quick. So I could see him maybe dragging it to Mania. If depending on the severity of the injury and how quickly Rhea could get back in the ring.
That's fair. And Eric said also Rebecca Quinn has entered the Impact Zone.
No, he said Rebecca.
I know what he meant. Kine says Becky has to come back or retire. WWE gave her a career she's had. If she goes to AEW, the loyalty of the sport has died. I don't think anybody owes anybody a sense of loyalty in professional wrestling. I think you should just do whatever your heart desires. I mean, look at Adam Copeland. He's arguably on the run of his career.
And the thing is, too, you're making money. It's a job still. You're not going to sit with a company if they're going to give you less money and you're going to sit on the sidelines. I'm not saying that's Becky Lynch's case, obviously. But some of the stars that have gone over to AEW, they wanted more money, so they got more money, and now money. And about a quarter of them are actually becoming good talent in AEW. The rest, they got money at least. Money.
They do. They're definitely getting paid over there. Let's move on here from Saturday's WWE PLE. Go to this Intercontinental Triple Threat where Sami Zayn did retain his title. A very fun match. A lot of fun spots in this one. I'll tell you what, even though he's basically there to eat the pinfall, Bronson Reed has been doing some great stuff on WWE television. Sami Zayn gets that warm reception from the Saudi crowd. It's kind of cool nowadays, Ian, that the WWE really embraces culture and lets these people have their moments in their home cities. Yeah,
and that's the beautiful thing, too, about going global with everything. We saw it with, we're going to see it at Clash of the Castle, too. That was the first Clash of the Castle was fantastic.
We watched it, remember, in a hotel room?
Yeah, with Jeremy. And it was fantastic just because it was Drew McIntyre's hometown and he was competing for that title. And we genuinely thought he was going to win it.
Yeah.
It was wild times. So that's the greatest part about going global with everything. Hopefully they bring a WrestleMania to Great Britain, but we'll see if that happens.
I think they might, because I don't think you announced that SummerSlam 2-day PLE in 2026 if you don't have a plan to have an overseas WrestleMania. I saw some people say Japan. I don't know how I feel about that yet for
It's got to take some time.
Yeah, let's get a PLE there. Let's get a Backlash there. That's fine.
Yeah, I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, but nonetheless, going back to this match, the coolest spot for me had to be Chad Gable hitting a double suplex on Bronson Reed and Sami Zayn. That's a combined 550 pounds of man meat right there between those two people. And obviously, Ian, you didn't get to see it, but they kept that Otis storyline going. Otis was very hesitant to attack Sami Zayn. And then when Gable basically just slapped the shit out of Otis, he revved up, he got excited, and then Otis accidentally clotheslined Chad Gable, and that's what set Sami Zayn up for the victory. But my question to you, since you didn't get to see this one, is now that we know that Bronson Reed is the one that took the pinfall in that match, are we going to get a singles match at Clash at the Castle, you think, between Sami and Chad Gable? And is that the time where you would pull the trigger?
Oh, how far away is Clash?
2 weeks.
Oh no, I think that's too early because we've been tweeting about this. I think we tweeted back and forth about this. Chad Gable and the Alpha Academy is some of the most entertaining stuff. I love stories like that, and I don't think that stuff ever fails when factions break apart. We want to see that with the New Day at times, which I think we're going to get there at some point. Hopefully,
they hinted that on Monday too.
I really want to see that. And those breakaways of friendships, like it really ends up making people. I mean, Chad Gable is becoming more and more of a star. We're bringing Otis back into the spotlight after being on the sidelines in the Alpha Academy.
Gable's also getting the "You Suck" chance too.
Yeah, we're seeing some great stuff with such a simple storyline. And I mean, a year ago, 2 years ago, they were it was a brutal part of your segment in a TV show. And I'm enjoying it. And it's stuff that's bringing me back every single week. So I think you need to go back to that storyline, complete that. Maybe at Clash of Castle, that's where you get Otis and Gable. Let Sami, give Sami a week off, a PLE off. Then you bring Chad Gable back into the fro. Yeah, and that's where you give it some time. Or, you send Otis back into the Money in the Bank match.
Ooh, okay. I kind of like that. And let's not forget, the Money in the Bank, I believe you can cash in on any title. So if Chad Gable ended up getting that title from Sami Zayn, I'm just saying a Money in the Bank with Otis cashing in on Chad Gable would be fun. It would probably be a waste, but when you have Cody Rhodes as your champion, nobody's cashing in on Cody Rhodes. It's like Roman Reigns. We knew he wasn't going to get cashed in on.
Plus, Priest will still have the title by then. I don't think he's losing it anytime soon. Yeah, true. Maybe. I don't know. I don't think you're going to cash it in on Priest title at the moment. So I would not mind like a Money in the Bank briefcase, cash in the night of the win for Otis, cash it in on Gable the same night that Gable beats Sami Zayn for the title. Why not? Let's get freaky.
Would be a lot of fun. Clash at the Castle, Kind said, is too soon for Chad to win, but maybe the time for Otis to turn and cost Chad. Then at SummerSlam, Chad beats Sami. I mean, hey, I wouldn't complain about getting Chad versus Sami at SummerSlam. I just don't know if you could stretch it that far. That's a while.
I think we got really lucky with how long those stories and title reigns were going into this past WrestleMania. I think it's about time to get back into the titles could switch a little quicker. With Gunther, with having the title and losing it, beautiful. Now we're having a little reset with everything. So I think the Intercontinental title, there's no issue with it swapping hands back and forth because you have so many, I guess you could say, top mid-tier players. And that's not an insult. That's just how juiced the roster is right now. Yeah, exactly. So I think it's okay if that title switches.
Yeah, I don't. It doesn't need to be a hot potato. Like we don't need that thing to flip every 2 weeks or every month. But give somebody a month or two reign, and then something cool happens and surprises everybody. Because that has been a criticism of the WWE as of late, is that it's too predictable. That they're gonna drag out these storylines as much as possible because that's the Triple H way. But they still are telling good stories, and it goes back to what you were saying with the Alpha Academy. It's just even Maxine Dupree is going to come out of this looking like a bigger star.
She's already getting better.
Yeah, she's improving. And she's not good. We're not going to sit here and say she's a good wrestler, but she's improving, and you got to give her credit. It's similar to Nia Jax, who we are going to talk about very soon, but I'm going to run to the chat real quick. Eric says, I would love to see someone cash in on the NXT title. That would be fun. I'd be here for that, Eric. And Kind says, Priest is losing that title at Clash to Drew, to Cook. Drew versus Punk for the world title, Ian. Ian, I think you're going to agree with me here. I don't think Drew versus Punk needs to be for a title. That's a blood feud right there.
No, correct. That is a blood feud. The title really doesn't add much. You kind of already reached its ceiling with how these promos have gone, and it's going to be. I kind of hope his first match back for Punk would be just straight at Drew right away on a PLE.
It should
Think
be.
that would be, you don't need to waste Punk and risk another injury on just a Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I don't even know. He's on Raw. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, you don't need the title in that picture. I don't mind Drew winning at Clash of the Castle for the title.
No.
It's just, I don't think it needs it. It really doesn't.
It doesn't, and Drew's doing great stuff. Can't take that away from him. It would be so cool for him to get that moment in his home country. Yeah, I just don't see it right now. And our thoughts could change. We still have a couple weeks, a couple more shows to see if they can convince us. But I brought up Nia Jax. Let's quickly go through our Queen and King of the Ring winners. We do know that they are going to be facing off against the champions at SummerSlam from their respective brands. That was, 100% a fact. I know a lot of people were questioning if they would be able to go over to another brand and challenge for a title. No, it has to be on your show. So we know now that
This is good.
Nia Jax will be facing off probably against Bayley unless she loses her title before SummerSlam. But I don't know if you saw the finish of this matchup here against Lyra Valkyria. She sat on Lyra, and I legitimately thought she was squashed like a bug. It was like a bonsai drop from Yokozuna, who is a relative of Nia Jax. I thought it was just a fantastic way to end a match, and we got to give credit to the Great Brown Hope. He did call this one very early in the tournament. Thoughts on Nia Jax becoming the Queen of the Ring?
It's good. I mean, just kind of like Gunther. I mean, not in the same vein as in Gunther coming up and then automatically getting the rocket pushed to him. Nia's been really good recently. Very good. And
Second run, yeah.
She's been one of those pieces that have been missing from the women's division for a while, like a legitimately good women's monster. And I think, and she's entertaining as hell too. And she does a great job representing the brand. So why not? I don't know who she's going to face. I kind of hope it's Bayley, but at the same time, I think Bayley drops the title in that situation.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just because Bayley's title run's been
not working, but it's not her fault because they've been putting all the attention on King and Queen of the Ring for the last month. Mm-hmm. So Bayley's kind of just sitting in the back, which we need to start putting Bayley on TV and change her theme song while we're at it too. But you brought up Gunther. We do know that we have a new King of the Ring. It is the Ring General himself. Controversial ending. I know you probably saw that. Randy's shoulder was up. They did address that situation, which is a new, fresh thing in the WWE. Not being blind to that, Ian, because if you remember the past when Vincent Kennedy McMahon was running the show, that's something they just would have pushed under the rug, moved on. But it's nice that they addressed that situation.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a new regime. It's Triple H's regime. He's going to make sure nothing's getting just swept under the rug like that. I saw the finish, and the fact that Triple H addressed it and said this will be addressed later on. We know Randy's there will be a rematch at some point. He said it won't be for a little while because Randy's got to cope with his injuries, which again, he is a legend and one of the best of all time, and we're blessed to see him every single week if we can. So we'll take what we could get. Hopefully that comes with a good story, and hopefully it doesn't get too stale to the point of, oh yeah, I forgot that happened at Clash of or King of the Ring. So I'm interested to see what they do with Randy and how they stick that back in there, because we keep wanting to see Randy go after Cody's title.
This is true, and it's still possible.
I'm intrigued.
It's definitely still possible, Ian. I would keep my eye on that for sure. Kine was surprised that Nia won it all, but she deserves it. He's given her flowers, and he also says, all hail King Gunther. He's on the way to that world title, but if Priest is a champ, then Gunther wins. If it is Drew who's a champ, then Gunther ain't winning. Interesting, because right when Gunther ended up winning that match, which, by the way, I think this probably was my favorite matchup on the card. The finish didn't really ruin much for me. It's just a little thing, a little blip. But the pacing, the in-ring psychology, the methodicalness of Gunther in the ring, it was just a perfect match from top to bottom. I was surprised at the winner of it. I originally had Gunther winning King of the Ring, and then when they made that announcement, I wanted Randy to face Cody, but I still think we could probably get there, Ian, nonetheless. But King General Gunther is our King of the Ring. He will be having a matchup, hopefully, at SummerSlam. Yeah, I don't know why I'm saying hopefully. It's going to happen at SummerSlam. But I do want to share this clip really quick. It came across on my TikTok For You page. I made sure to reach out to this content creator. You will see his when we pull up the video, but I thought this was an interesting fantasy booking situation here, Ian. So I'm going to show the video to you and to the chat, obviously, and I want to get your thoughts on if this is something you would like to see. So I'm going to give the floor to this content creator right now.
WWE just basically leaked their whole plans for the summer by telling us that the winner of this tournament gets a title shot at SummerSlam. So I'm going to explain how this is going to lead to this, which will lead to this. But real quick, if you like fantasy booking, make sure to hit that follow button. So the first plan is that Gunther is going to beat Randy Orton or Tama Tonga to win the King of the Ring tournament. Then at Clash at the Castle and a few weeks after King of the Ring, we're going to get Drew versus Priest. What should be a big moment for Drew in his hometown is going to turn to disaster when CM Punk comes in and screws over Drew McIntyre. And this is going to set up a match between Drew and CM Punk for SummerSlam. So the next pay-per-view after Clash is Money in the Bank. But before Money in the Bank, either at Clash or in Saudi Arabia, Chad Gable is going to beat Sami for the IC title. And in the first match at Money in the Bank in front of his home country, Sami Zayn is going to win the Money in the Bank briefcase. And later that night, Damian Priest is going to have a match. And either during or after that match, we're going to get Finn Balor finally turning on Damian Priest. And this so happens to be the 1-year anniversary of when Priest screwed Balor over in his championship match. And while Priest isn't conscious, Sami Zayn is going to come out and cash in on the same day to win the World Heavyweight Championship. This will lead to Priest versus Balor at SummerSlam. So then at SummerSlam, we'll get the rematch between Sami and Gunther, but this time Sami has the championship. And Gunther gets his revenge by beating Sami. Gunther finally beats the person that beat him, but he has one more person he has to go against to say he's better than everybody else. And that's the Mad Dragon, Ilya Dragunov, and that match will happen a few weeks later at Bash in Berlin, where Gunther will finally beat Ilya. And you know what? I might be wrong with all of this, so let me know in the comments below if you agree with me.
A lot to digest there, obviously, Ian, but the guy was making a lot of sense. The dots were connecting. What do you think?
He was saying a lot of stuff that we were saying throughout this episode, actually, which is kind of scary. I think he's listening and then uploading that video from earlier. But you got to build my only issue I could see is you have to build Ilya back into that caliber star. I know that Bash of Berlin is a good amount of time away from now, but it's still at some point you're gonna have to start building him up a little bit. He's just been taking L's after L, which is not a bad thing. He's still new to the main roster, so I enjoy that part. I like the Sami Zayn win and cash in at his hometown. Oh, it's a lot to digest.
There's a lot going on there, and like he said, he's probably going to be wrong with it, but I liked it so much I wanted to bring it up because that's honestly something I would be totally behind. You have that hometown field in Money in the Bank. We know Gable is definitely going to take that title off of him. We have talked about Finn Balor versus Damian Priest. I don't think that necessarily needs to be for the title. And we talked about Punk and Drew McIntyre. So this is a way for Gunther to get revenge on Sami Zayn as well. And Damian Priest loses his title the same way he won it. And then he has a feud with the guy that he was in a faction with for 2 years. I feel like it's a win-win situation.
You're getting a lot of feuds out of it, and you're getting title changes that make sense, and to people that kind of have earned those title wins over the past year or so. I like it. I am a big fan. Please give his tag is right below Kyle there. Please go give him a follow on TikTok. We'll probably be grabbing more of his content at some point and reacting to it because
I tell you what, if I was gonna say if he keeps that up, we might have to have him on the podcast one of these days. He's got a pretty good following as well, so I appreciate him blessing us to use that video here on the podcast. But the last thing we're gonna talk about from King and Queen of the Ring is the obvious decision of Cody Rhodes successfully retaining his World Heavyweight Championship against Logan Paul. Another fantastic showing from Logan. That moment jumping off of the rope onto the table with the camera going a wraparound kind of panoramic shot with it was chef's kiss. I mean, I don't think we should start... I think we should start calling Logan Paul just a professional wrestler. I don't think he should just be considered a celebrity. I think he actually is legit one of us.
He's earned it too, and you could tell he's a fan. He's probably in it for the money. That's probably what he came in for. He was like, I'll take a lot of money and be an athlete like I am. I mean, he was a wrestler back in the day. He was a high-tier state wrestler, amateur wrestler. But actually, what was really funny about that camera shot is Logan Paul had tweeted out about a week ago or so saying with just a text, I think it was probably to Triple H describing, hey, could we do this camera shot of me jumping off the top rope onto Cody? And he explained the entire thing and asking Triple H to do so. So I would like to think that was a Logan Paul idea because I know he brings up a bunch of ideas that could help grow, and Triple H has talked about that in press conferences. So he's definitely yeah, like you said, he gets it. He understands what's missing, and he's connecting a lot of dots for the newer fans, which is awesome. It's so fun to see.
The perfect 2020 heel. The 2020s. That's what I want out of my heel is Logan Paul. I think he's the perfect heel. And Cody, a lot of people are going to bash Cody for his reign so far, which is, once again, not his fault. But let's look at it realistically. AJ Styles was a banger. That was a 5-star match from Dave Meltzer. I know people don't care about Dave Meltzer. I don't. But that says something because he never gives WWE matches 5 stars. And then you have this one. I'm not saying it's a 5-star match between Cody and Logan. Probably would put it at like a 4.25. But a really good title defense. And now we're in the boat where it's like, what do you do until SummerSlam now with Cody Rhodes? I don't know if you saw it on Friday Night SmackDown, but AJ Styles came into Nick Aldis's office saying, I don't have much time left, man. I need to get after it. I think you should run it back with AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. How do you feel about that?
I love that. I didn't see that segment, actually, and I'm glad you brought that up because AJ's a heel. He's a dirty, dirty heel.
Yep.
What are the Good Brothers doing at the moment?
They right now are feuding for the NXT Tag Team titles.
So they're out of the picture.
Yes.
I was going to bring up maybe it's Cody is just chilling and he's just relaxing, trying to find feuds every now and then, just random title feuds or something on a show, on a weekly show. AJ backstage attacks constantly, going back to like what Brock would do to Cody. What The Rock was doing to Cody, because Cody sells perfectly. AJ forces his hand, Adam Pearce's hand, and demanding a title shot by just beating the absolute crap out of Cody every single week, not in the ring, just backstage segments. Yeah. That's how we get there. You could expand that for a while. Even to SummerSlam.
Yeah, I don't know. Who's Cody going to face at SummerSlam?
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying AJ builds this feud with promos. I mean, it may not work, but I think this could be.
Randy's the obvious choice though for SummerSlam. Nothing else jumps off the page to me. I mean, yes, I guess you could make the case for AJ Styles or Logan Paul. Maybe I saw people saying that,
Logan,
but
Knight.
He beat Logan Paul clean 3 Crossroads. Why would he get another match?
It's got to be Logan Paul, LA Knight. I think that's where you got to settle with that.
It's the money match.
Yeah. I think Randy's out of the picture for now. I think give him some more time off. I don't know. I'm not sure.
Isn't that what's great, though? Like, WWE used to be so predictable on, like, what you could see coming in the future. Right now, it's kind of all up in the air. And I think a lot of it has to do with the questionability of Roman Reigns, of The Rock, because those are 2 pivotal pieces in the Cody Rhodes story still, and the Bloodline story itself, which is just starting to reheat up once again with Bloodline 2.0. But yeah, we have already talked about this pay-per-view for a while, so I'm going to have to quickly pivot on over to AEW. And let's start off with the first match. Once again, not going to go through every single match because we are on a time crunch. We do have a new international champion, which I was kind of surprised to see. Thought there was going to be shenanigans. There kind of was, but it didn't affect the result. We now know that Will Ospreay is the new international champion. First off, Ian, you can't go wrong starting off with Roddy and Will Ospreay. Will Ospreay, one of the best in the world right now. But how are we feeling about him winning this title that really, let's be honest, this championship doesn't mean much?
Correct. Couple takeaways I had from this match. Obviously, incredible starter to the show. Kind of dragged out the crowd's energy a little bit too much, in my opinion. I mean, Will Ospreay is an absolute heater. You could throw him on at any point in the show and get the crowd absolutely electrified. And they loved him, and it was very entertaining. The crowd was into this match the entire time. Another biggest takeaway I had from it was Don Callis. Don Callis played an important part, and they did do a lot of storyline telling throughout 2 different matches here. We had Konosuke, which we'll talk about in a second here, and we had Will Ospreay both guys kind of refused to do what Don Callis wanted and was coaching from the sideline while he was on commentary. Told Will Ospreay to do the Tiger Driver. I don't think he ended up doing it. No, he did not. He was about to put him through it, didn't do it, still ended up winning the match, which still kind of puzzled about that. If you're wanting to sell I'm not going to do the Tiger Driver, end up losing. That's how you get Don Callis to absolutely despise you. Will Ospreay needs to be branched off from Don Callis. I see where they're going with it, but at this point, it's the writing's been on the wall for about 3 months now, so it's kind of pointless. But it was obviously a fantastic match. I mean, you're putting Will Ospreay. Roderick Strong held his own. Looked like $1 million in there as well. That backbreaker. My back still hurts just watching those. So that's good. Yeah, very fun.
Yeah, Eric said he's happy for Ospreay, and the thing that this is going to do for Will, it's going to keep him away from the world title scene for a little bit, because we know eventually Will Ospreay is getting his hands on the AEW World Championship. It would just be a little too much too soon if you were to put him into that scene right away. So I guess looking at it in hindsight, International Championship is good for him because he could make that title relevant. He could bring prestige to that championship. He's the kind of guy that can really change the outlook of what a champion is. And I think that's what's going to happen here. But the only thing that stinks about all this is Roderick Strong, man. I feel like he's just going to go back to being just a body in a faction, which I thought him winning this title was going to take him into single stardom because he had a character. Now, Ian, I'm a little worried about Roddy.
Like I said, I don't think Roderick should have lost this. He had the entire faction behind him, and I get it. You want to strap the rocket to Will Ospreay as much as possible. That thing's already strapped as much as possible. He doesn't need the title. He's obviously going to... I'm not going to say obviously. I hope we see him versus Strickland at All In London. Please, that'd be amazing. But now, are we going to make it a title versus title? Or MJF? Yeah. Triple threat? I don't know. We haven't seen a lot of triple threats.
I'm saying do Will Ospreay versus MJF, and then maybe you can run back Hangman and Swerve. That's my thoughts for All In. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I don't hate that. Hangman comes back probably with the Elite, I'd imagine. I think he's full heel at the moment.
Those are two main events right there.
Yeah, that's a good point. Fair point. I don't have a rebuttal for that. That's good.
No, I mean that's fair. I'm trying to cook over here, as the kids would say. Let's go to the comment section. I called Ospreay winning this, and everyone else in the chat and you and Tino said otherwise. Give Will a little reign. And I, to be honest with you, if anything, I was being the one with the hot take because everybody and their mother was on Will Ospreay in this match. I just thought they were gonna stretch this out for a little bit.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah, it's not that impressive of a prediction, Ospreay is a face in a heel faction, so it makes sense that eventually that's going to split. I'm happy Adam Cole and MJF are back. Eric says, yes, so are we, as he yells, Adam! in the chat. He does ask, why would Hangman get another opportunity? Ian just said it. I think he comes back as a part of the Elite. The Elite can do whatever they want.
Yeah, exactly.
He can make his own title match,
Exactly.
There's your story, but... let's talk about the returns as we saw Adam Cole come out first. Looked like he was walking okay. Seemed to be all right.
He took a bump.
He did take a couple bumps, it seems. So hopefully he's on his way back. But a guy that we know for sure is back is the devil himself, the face that runs the place. I'm going to steal AJ Styles' catchphrase because it's true. And I think we kind of talked about it a little bit, Ian, before we started recording. MJF's just AEW. That's what it is. And without him in AEW, it did not feel the same. Now AEW feels like they're starting to get something going here.
This was, if you took Adam Copeland's, when he tried to do the hurrah speech, and then Tony Khan ended up saying some stupid stuff at a draft, but we moved past that. This was a perfect hurrah moment. That thing could have been a temporary tattoo on the back of his ankle, but man, if I wasn't like I said, I am an AEW guy. I have been from the start. Like that was a cool moment seeing like MJF's like, listen, this is my company. I love this company. They've given me a lot, and he's in full face mode, which I love it. He is the people's douche or whatever his name is. Scumbag. That's it. And the people really love to get behind him. So it was cool to see, and I was genuinely jazzed. I was really cool about all of it. MJF looks like $1 million, a little vignette before going through his house. It looked like,
That was
even
nice.
though you could tell you could tell who it was right as everything was going on.
Well, and the music too was the instrumental. Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I mean that was well done. He looked like Triple H in 2002 with that jean jacket.
Oh yeah, a
So
lot of
Vogus
people
called that right away. Got to
Yep.
give Vogus credit. He said that right away, and I was like, "Yep, that's."
One other thing I had about MJF segment was it seemed like they're trying to throw the devil stuff in the trash. So I think that stuff failed. Obviously, I think it was all derailed because of Adam Cole's injury. They went through with it in showing Adam Cole was the devil. But MJF literally said, "We're done with the devil. This was stupid, and it was a dumb idea by myself," because he did introduce the devil. And he's done with it. So maybe this is their way of moving on past it. Because at this point, it's stale.
It's a refresh.
Yeah, the Undisputed Era, it's cool. I like the faction. I think it still has
Kingdom.
some time. Undisputed Kingdom. I think that still has some time to grow and do its own thing. But for now, I think MJF is going to try to separate himself. But Adam Cole, obviously, is his first target.
Yeah, that makes sense. Kind thinks that could happen at All In. That would make a lot of sense because I believe they defended their tag team titles together at All In last year. So that's a complete calendar year right there. That would be pretty cool. Eric says, I feel like MJF's an AEW lifer. In his 30s, I think he makes his way to WWE.
I don't know. According to that promo, he's a lifer. I honestly, after that promo, it makes me feel like as long as AEW is still living and thriving and has the money to give out, I don't think he leaves.
Hear me out, though. Everybody, their original fandom started with WWE. You're telling me MJF would pass on the opportunity to main event a WrestleMania? If WWE was like, hey, we'll sign you for a year and then you can go back to AEW, do whatever the hell you want to do. We're going to give you a main event against Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. You're telling me he says no?
I have a counterpoint. Maybe he's just a wrestling fan in general. If you were told while you were thinking about being a wrestler at some point, you were a wrestler at some point.
Backyard wrestler, yeah.
If you were told at some point, hey, you could go be the head of a brand new, fresh company in wrestling, the head, you are the guy.
Yeah.
You would take that over being, hey, do you want to take your chance at that childhood dream you had? A very small chance.
Well, I would start with the new company, and then I would make my way over to the big company where the money's where the attention's at, where the stardom's at. Because let's be real, MJF is not known outside of the wrestling bubble.
Yeah.
A casual person walking down the street, you're like, hey, MJF? They don't know who that is. And I'm not saying that's his fault that he's not a big name. I'm just saying there's a difference from the WWE to AEW. Stage.
My thing is right now with MJF is he is 100% making a lot more money than he would in WWE.
Probably.
And he's still on top. I think that's it. That's two check marks that you have to have ticked off for a wrestler. And obviously outside, I'm not a wrestler. I'm not making millions and millions of dollars being a wrestler. But that would, in my eyes, that would be two things that you'd want is money and notoriety. So I don't know. I think MJF stays for a while until the company folds.
That's a good question, though, Eric. It got us to chat for a little bit there, so appreciate that. Tino's a little confused. He said, I thought today was Thursday. That's all right. It's Come Tuesday, and I appreciate Kine wishing Tino a happy Come Tuesday as he wished it right back to Kine. See, that's what we're about here. OTM family understands what we're doing. Kine says if WWE offered the same or a little bit more, he's jumping ship right there and then, especially after Netflix deal. It's going to have a lot more freedom for language and promos. That's a fair point. And Eric says, I think the only company he doesn't watch is New Japan. Yeah, I don't think he would end up going to New Japan. Eric asks, how was the concert, Ian?
JID, we've talked about him, Kyle. One of the guys that got famous because of 21 Savage. A lot better than 21 Savage. 21 he actually said fuck you to the Indianapolis crowd, so
he wasn't liking the response he was getting? Is that
we weren't liking 21 Savage. JID literally stole the entire night. That's why you don't open it. It was like a Will Ospreay opener.
And then you're main eventing with some old boys or something.
Yeah, no, I said this. I was like, the biggest pop was when 21 brought out JID to do that song with him, and it was like, the crowd was on fire after that.
Sometimes you just got to bring out the Will Ospreay. Let's breeze through this one. Timeless Tony retains over Serena Deeb. I thought it was a really good match, Ian, but status quo here. Nothing really new to report.
And in my eyes, I see this as a win for Deeb. I mean, she was legitimately fighting for her life 6 months ago or so. She had I'm not gonna guess
seizures.
On what she had. Yeah, she had the seizures, and now she's on center stage for Double or Nothing. And my eyes could have been one of those triple main events. It was a great match, and I thought it had a really good build to it. Obviously, you're gonna keep the rocket strap to Tony. She has been still electric. She's still getting the crowd engaged. Somebody returning.
Mariah?
The Mariah May, it's coming. I mean, they hinted at it. She was about to throw in the white flag. So I'm excited for that because I think Mariah May has proven herself as well in those smaller matches on Rampage, whatever.
Collision. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's 3 names. I think it's Britt, Jamie Hayter, or Mariah May. I don't think you can go wrong with any of those names.
No, not at all.
So yeah, Timeless Tony retains. Great match. No complaints, but we got to move it along to the world title eliminator match, which, by the way, I don't know why you do an eliminator match if the guy challenging is going to lose. Somebody responded to me, that's got to be a New Japan call. I don't care if it's a New Japan call. It's still stupid to advertise and have this match if Takeshi's not going to win. I'm not taking anything away from the match, Ian, because I thought the match was good.
Yes.
It was solid. Takeshita is just too big of a name to be getting these kind of losses. It hurts him after he just beat Chris Jericho, he just beat Kenny Omega about a year ago, and now everybody's forgetting about it, and he's losing these big matches. I'm not happy with it.
No, I'm not either. But like I said, you have that Don Callis effect you could fall upon because what is AEW always missing? It's the storytelling aspect. And Takeshita is a fan favorite. Ospreay is a fan favorite. If things start really falling stale for Takeshita, which I think they haven't fully at all. I don't think anything's stale about Takeshita. Like you said, the win-loss thing. But
as long as he has Don Callis, he won't be stale.
Correct, because I think you always have that switch you could flip right away. Takeshita just punches Don Callis in the back of the head or something, turns face. There you go. That is one of the faces of the company right there.
Yeah, it's just, once again, nothing bad with that match. It just didn't
like
the decision. Didn't like that whatsoever. Kind said, Timeless Tony gets the win. We all saw it coming. She's a star. WWE returns soon.
Gosh.
Yes, please. She's one I see being an AEW lifer. She really disliked her time in WWE. I don't know if you've seen her interview she had post WWE. I think she is going to be one of the faces of the women's division for AEW forever.
And AEW gave Tony a chance. Like they had her with the Saraya. I don't even remember what they were called. Saraya's faction.
The Outcasts. Social Outcasts.
Which was okay, and then it just flopped completely. But now Tony has just revitalized her career because she's been giving TV time, even if it was literally just backstage segments. And now look at her. She's the champ that we don't even know who could beat her because she's so entertaining. She's not going anywhere.
Eric Douglas said he's signed to the biggest rival of New Japan. I'm assuming he's talking about Konosuke Takeshita there. But at the same time, Eric, they do Forbidden Door with New Japan.
I wouldn't say rival.
I would say the biggest rival is probably WWE just because they're number one.
The match we just talked about was a New Japan title.
Yeah.
I don't think they're rivals.
They're featuring New Japan, titles on their show. I don't think they're rivals whatsoever. So I don't know if I agree with you on that one, sir. Let's move on here, though, to the barbed wire steel cage match, which was a doozy. Oh. It was brutal. It was very cool seeing Adam Copeland getting the opportunity to have a match like this. This is the match, Ian, that I wanted to see out of Copeland, Edge, and Finn Balor at WrestleMania 39.
And this was, you could kind of tell, you had Gangrel come at the end. The after match stuff was incredible. We was like, it had me on the edge, which is exactly what you want. Copeland.
What you did there.
Okay, thank you. Definitely meant to do that. You know how smart Copeland is, and especially even Malachi Black, how good he is with creative. You knew this was going to be really fun, and they delivered. Obviously, we have the injury. Gags, if you would like to talk about it.
Yeah, real quick, I want to pull up Eric's comment. He said he was talking about Takeshita being a part of.
Uh-oh. I think he is frozen. Uh-oh.
Oh,
You're back. You're back.
That'll happen from time to time. But yeah, you see the comment there. Sorry about that. Thanks for correcting us there, Eric. Kind says sorry, but the spot that causes Edge's injury was stupid. It didn't even make him look good. It had the return we were supposed to have at Mania versus Finn. Yeah, so let's go to that injury then. We saw him go to the top of the cage. I think he probably should have just landed more on the table. I don't know why he landed feet first, but I knew right when he made that impact that something had to be wrong because you can't fall from that high and not sustain any injury. But we do know now that he is going to probably miss 4 to 6 months, if not more, with a fractured tibia. Very serious injury here, Ian, which is very unfortunate because Copeland was doing some great stuff with that title.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I just want to say this to the people calling out Tony Khan and AEW. Why would you let him go do that? Why would you stop Copeland from doing anything that he wants to do in your own company and grace your company with that stuff? Why? Yeah, you do whatever he wants to do, even if it could be injuring and it could be dangerous. Copeland, he posted a video saying, I was dumb, I got over my own head, and I wanted to do it. So I did it, and it didn't go as planned. It looked kind of like he bailed at the last second, which that's why he landed on his feet. Right. And it's just bad luck. And I really, really hope he gets back soon. I mean, it's not going to be soon, but hope he comes back fully healthy. And I'm interested to see what they do with the TNT title. I think the best thing about this is the House of Black. They could do a story with this. They have some leeway. They could play it off. I'm interested to see how they do it, but I think they're going to try.
Yeah, and going back to the Gangrel stuff, I thought he delivered those moves awesomely.
He's so good.
He's still got it apparently. They were able to use the Brood name, it seemed, and according to wrestling covers and PW Insider, they have been asked over the last several days if Copeland using the Brood name as a part of Double or Nothing, and we have been told that Copeland now owns the rights and the trademarks to that term. So don't be surprised if when Copeland does come back, he comes back with a group and it's called the Brood, and that would be some good stuff.
That'd be incredible. But yeah, like you said, I just want to shout out Gangrel. He's 55 years old and moves like he's a natural. He is incredible. And I had followed his journey because I think he had been through a Royal Rumble at some point, WWE, not too long ago. He's phenomenal. And you could tell how much that moment meant for, Copeland and Gangrel. The smile on their faces was wholesome. It was a wholesome moment.
No, all around good stuff. Great performance, too, from the House of Black where they teased turning on Malachi there for a split second. That was pretty cool. But yeah, regardless, a lot of, brutal spots with barbed wire and such. But I agree with Eric. He said, I really want Malachi to have one singles title run before he leaves. Assuming he is leaving for the WWE. That seems to be the rumor. You obviously don't seem about that life.
Why would he leave? I don't understand why people think he's going to leave. He has had full creative control of his own group. They have been a mainstay. They have been on basically every single PLE since they really have been heated up. Sure, he's not on single success right now. Sure. He just had a one-on-one versus Copeland in AEW in a cage match that was bloody and was memorable. And he's got to be happy about that. If he leaves from WWE or to WWE for creative reasons or whatever, he's been on TV pretty much every single week for about a year now. I don't understand where these, got to go to WWE here soon. He got buried because he lost a match. Get out of here. I'm tired of it.
No, yeah, he didn't get buried. He had a great showing, like I said. I could see it from another viewpoint. His wife is over in WWE. Spend more time with your wife. Travel with your wife. That makes sense. He was a Triple H guy. Triple H brought Aleister Black into NXT. So maybe he thinks, maybe if I go back to Triple H, I can get those singles moments that I'm not getting in AEW. But you said a lot of things that are facts. Malachi staying in AEW would make a lot of sense. He's done good stuff. It's not all about winning championships in professional wrestling. It's telling stories and just having good and entertaining matches, and that's definitely what he's been having in AEW so far. NXT is starting now, so Kine is going to be making his way out of here. Oh, no, maybe he's not. He said OTM's going to the phone. So we were on the big screen, I'm guessing. So this is a W come Tuesday for Kine for sure, having OTM and NXT. Damn, I hope I'm not missing Sexy Red. Oh, that would suck. I'll tell you what, though. That TBS championship match between Willow Nightingale and Mercedes Moné lived up to the hype. The crowd, you could tell, was mostly into this one more than the rest of the matches. I feel like this match definitely could have main evented the pay-per-view. Obviously, I understand why Anarchy in the Arena did so with all that happened in it. But regardless, Ian, we have a new TBS Women's Champion in Mercedes Moné, which makes a lot of sense because not only have they financially invested a lot into her, they've been telling this story, and it seemed like it would be the right call to have Mercedes win here, have that heel champion. And she's not the only heel that was in that match. We saw Chris Statlander turn on Willow Nightingale afterwards, and it looks like she still is aligned with Stokely Hathaway as well. So a lot of good things to come out of this one. How did you enjoy the match between Mercedes and Willow?
It was good. And like you said, it lived up to the expectations. It didn't exceed any expectations, in my opinion. I think it just met them. But we were built so high that it could only be as good as it was of a match. Especially the build-up, it really didn't start kicking off until we saw that the contract signing, the going through the table. We knew Mercedes was back completely. I kind of feel bad for Willow, but at the same time, I'm supposed to, so I got worked, brother. And I'm excited because I think there's still so many more questions to be answered, which is the point. That's the point of something like a title change happening. And I'm excited. I'm excited to see what Chris Statlander and Willow could cook as well in their own feud.
Yeah, because obviously they're probably going to have their own thing coming up here in the next couple months. And maybe Willow makes her way back to that TBS title. I feel like she is not going to be finished with Mercedes Moné. Hell, I wouldn't be mad if they ran this back at All In, Ian. Do Mercedes versus Willow again. I think it would be great. Just like this one that they had here at Double or Nothing. Willow's not buried, people. Let's relax. I do understand why you were frustrated because I'll be honest with you. I would have liked to see Willow win. I think that would have been a great resume builder for her. But at the end of the day, like you said, Ian, she's going to be fine. Willow kind of made herself in this feud. She is now one of the top names in that women's division. She
is one of those that actually benefited. I mean, the first thing that she benefited from, she was a very far undercarder on AEW television. If you even want to say television, she was on the YouTube channel for AEW Dark and After Dark, whatever. And then she built herself after the Mercedes Moné match in New Japan after the injury, won the title, came into AEW, set herself a character and a lovable face. She's been incredible on the mic, incredible in the ring, has delivered every single time. I mean, she's been one of the highlights of the show, and self-made as well. So that's huge for AEW.
Yeah, I would agree with you for sure. Well said. And like Eric was saying, that's the great attitude to have about this. He was upset for about 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And then he probably sat and pondered. He's like, you know what? Let me wait this out. Let me see the story play out. Willow's going to be just fine. Eric's a smart guy, and oh no, Sexy Red's on TV right now. Thank God I am not watching that live. I wanted nothing to do with Sexy Red on my television. Kai said this could have been a main event. You're right, Kyle, but it didn't. But it was still a banger of a match. Mercedes is money, boy. She's the future of AEW women's wrestling. Love her. Big reign coming. Yeah, probably. Well said, Kind. So 2 more matches to talk about. I really don't have much to say about this one other than that it was really good. We knew, it's similar to Cody, we knew Swerve was probably going to retain his world title. And he did. But he had to go through a lot of shit in this match. Obviously, Nick Wayne got involved. Mama Wayne was there. The whole crew. Kill Switch was there. But, Swerve overcame all those obstacles, as a babyface should, overcomes Christian Cage, and we move on. Ian, I know it was a longer match, but I thought they told a really good story in it.
They did, and I think this was one of those matches where the build up to the match was probably a little bit better than the actual match. I thought the build up to this match was incredible, and week in week out, it was Christian Cage doing. Sorry, he was doing what he knows best, and that is being a dastardly heel, and the AEW's champ, which is Swerve, getting some TV time, getting more build up for him as a face. Like I said, I mean, he really does feel like he is AEW's champ right now.
He's the guy.
He is the guy right now. And yeah, he's been delivering on all fronts. And the ending scene, we had Floyd Mayweather in the crowd. We had Q from Impractical Jokers in the crowd posing. I thought it was all entertaining. We saw the house call after countering what was it? A spear. I think he was going for a spear. Countered a spear with a house call kick to the face. That still shot that's cool. That would be something you frame on your wall as a kid.
Yeah, just overall good stuff. I mean, we really don't need to get too far into it. I would like to say, though, I think a Christian Cage eventually joining the Brood with Copeland and making a tag team run would be money in AEW. I feel like you have to do that eventually. Obviously, that's going to be down the road, but I think that's the direction Christian Cage eventually goes in the near future. But Swerve, I'm sure he's going to have plenty of challengers lining up. Hello, Mother. Thanks for stopping by as Ian pulled up your comment there. I didn't have to pull up a comment for once. It's the first time Ian's done that. I did want to show you something here, Ian, though, on my phone, and I guess the people watching live. On NXT, they just revealed the Women's North American Championship, and it's a beaut. It's a white belt, strap with the red in the middle there, similar to the men's, but I love a white strap on a belt. Similar to that IC title back there, I think it's a good look.
It's a good look, title.
So we got one more match, as I do my air quotes, to talk about. Anarchy in the arena, anarchy indeed. That is what the word would be to describe what we saw here. Probably my favorite Anarchy in the Arena match they have done. I don't know about you.
So I told you before the show, this was the worst part about my night. I was exhausted. We had played wiffle ball in the absolute downpour of a rain. Very tiring, by the way. Not fun. It was fun. But got home and hung out with some friends. Had it on the TV of the pay-per-view. Once I got to this point, I was kind of dozing in and out of consciousness. So I remember very subtle spots in what happened and what hell Darby had to go through.
Oh, he was hung.
Yeah,
which could be that could be a trigger for a lot of people, honestly. Which I thought when I was watching that, I'm like, that might be a little too far. Obviously, it doesn't offend me, but I could see somebody getting mad at that. But that's Darby in a nutshell, man. The guy just got hit by a bus.
The guy he probably still has a broken foot, and he got hung by his feet. You know how painful that had to have been?
He was there for what, 5-10 minutes too, at least.
Oh my gosh! And then he took a picture after, and he said the thumbtacks to the face, the aftermath of that, and there was just holes in his nose. I'm like, dude, go home for a little while.
Bringing out their pumped up kicks too, that just released as well. With the why am I blanking on what they put underneath the tacks? They put tacks underneath their feet. I mean, there was just so much that happened in here. And the right group won. The Elite goes over. Jack Perry gets another big profile win by pinning Bryan Danielson, which goes back to what we've always been saying, Ian. Danielson isn't here to win matches. He's here to put over people. You look at the Elite as a whole. You look at Jack Perry, Okada. This is arguably the strongest unit in professional wrestling right now. Like, overall, the match, what the Elite are doing, that was next level stuff. I would probably say that was A+ kind of, match.
This entire feud was the trendsetter for the faction in general. I mean, this faction has turned around Jack Perry. No one's even talking about what happened, nor am I going to bring anything up that happened. And Jack Perry has really took to it and bringing it to his own. And it's been entertaining. I think this whole entire thing of this beautiful and awful concoction of people being angry at Tony Khan getting knocked out and doing stupid stuff on the side, the Elite coming in, so it's a little bit welcoming. It's like, okay, this is a cool change of pace, but we still hate you. It's a cool little concoction of feelings that it's driving it's kind of a new era of AEW, and I think it's kind of felt like that.
That's a good way of putting it for sure. It definitely feels like a refresh of sorts. And if Kind's granddad loved this match, that says a lot because there was a lot of stupid shit, but a lot of fun, entertaining spots throughout. I'm definitely gonna have to rewatch it because I feel like you said, kind of missed a few things. We were tired. I mean, that's a big critique right now with AEW is, man, those pay-per-views are long, Ian. That's a hard watch. I wish they would just condense it down. You don't always have to have 10 matches on your card.
And my issue is I want to watch everything that is on my screen. If I'm paying for it, I'm going to watch it all. So I watch the pre-show. I watch all of it. I watch the press conferences. I'm like, I can only take so much before I stop enjoying it less. I still enjoy it, but I still enjoy it less.
It was a nice touch too, like Eric saying, nobody could agree on whose music was playing.
Yeah.
They went through Final Countdown, and he's like, I gotta pay money for this song every time it plays through. Change that to our new theme song, and it's the terrible piano orchestra type theme that they have. I mean, just top to bottom, great stuff from Anarchy in the arena. And overall, I thought a really strong pay-per-view. Ian, if you had to give it a letter grade, what would you say Double or Nothing 2024 was?
I mean, it was like you said, solid. I would probably give it like an 86%. I don't think it's in the A category. It was an AEW pay-per-view. It was an AEW pay-per-view, so it was good. That's basically all it was.
So, like, at the end of the day, too, I don't have any matches from that card where I'm like, that's a match of the year candidate. Which you usually get one of those from an AEW show. That doesn't mean it was bad because they actually told good stories throughout this pay-per-view, which I appreciate more than the in-ring wrestling itself. So for me, it was a B+. I never asked you about King of the Ring because you didn't watch it, but that pay-per-view was probably a B+ for me too. Just like overall, good stuff from the WWE and AEW this weekend. Excited to see what the summer looks like for both of those. But we are about an hour and 10 minutes in. I am missing NXT, which, really hurts.
You miss Sexy Red.
Yeah, I guess I didn't miss anything. The MVM title was on the line. The current MVM, Tony Cock. Yes, Tony, I'm calling you pronouncing your last name wrong. Probably didn't know we were even doing a show, which, by the way, if you want to know when we are recording, sometimes we do change things. Make sure you're following us on all socials, especially Twitter/X @PodOnTheMark. But Ian, we had two guys. We had two big heavyweight fighters here in the chat, but like the comment said earlier, he would like you to announce the MVM. So I'm going to give you the honors to award our new MVM.
All right. On this note, the people that are watching can see who the MVM is. However, the new champ, if I do announce your name, I would like at least like a good sentence or two apology to me. Yep. To me, truly, you have to tag me in the tweet and obviously tag the podcast, but tag me, apologize, because I was a good voter. I was actually asked who the MVM should be. Non-biased. And I said, you are the MVM. So, Kine, you are the MVM. I'm not clapping.
I'll clap. He didn't rip me. He only ripped you.
Kine, I would like a formal apology.
I'll tell you what, it was close. Eric.
It was close. It was very close.
Eric put up a good fight. He popped me a couple times. He had some funny, snarky comments in there. Eric, keep coming back for more because it was a near fall. We had a 299 there at the kickout there. Kine just was the better man tonight, apparently. It was a close one. At least Eric knows it. He doesn't seem too mad at us, which I appreciate. And Kine said, you got it, Ian. So there you go. Kine is saying he will have a written apology. So stay tuned on the socials at CM Kine. You will see it at Pot on the Mark as well as he will apologize. But yes, Kine is our new MVM.
You know what? Honestly, I'm going to change it. It doesn't have to be a written apology. It has to be a formal spoken apology.
Oh, yes.
It needs to be a minute-long apology where you in person, on camera, apologize to me.
That's a lot.
For all that you've done, you put me through mental anguish. I tried to enjoy my week off by just going to a concert, and I get ripped on my drive home from Indianapolis. I opened my phone. I was parked right away. Catching strays. So I would like an apology. Spoken. Please and thank you.
If I wanted an honorary Mark shirt, where would I go, Ian?
You'd go to the OnTheMarkWrestlingPodcast.com where you could get the #1 seller, the honorary Mark shirt. I still have mine in my closet. Actually, I need to buy a new one here soon because it's getting a little too small for me. It does fade a little bit too.
It does fade. So
it is
if
cotton.
you wear the honorary mark shirt, you might need to re-up and buy a new one. I might do the same thing. But Ian, if I wanted more wrestling content, if I wanted to be a junkie, or if I wanted to read a blog, where would I go?
You would go to @mainevent_net. That's where you can catch all of our blogs. The Great Brown Hope is still cranking out content, and he is I can't begin to describe to you because I was not of the age when bloggers were a thing, but I understand why people really tune into him, and I hooked every single time. But the Great Brown Hope has been carrying the blogging content. Tim Vicious has been carrying the YouTube channel, and when I mean carrying, he's carrying the YouTube channel. So check that out. New Vicious ran out tonight, by the way. Episode 593.
Yeah.
Yep.
593.
Okay. But episode number 600. Yeah, he's a trooper, and he's been recapping everything Raw. So if you miss anything Raw, he's got your back. But go to @mainevent_net for all of that.
Absolutely. He's approaching 600, and we are quickly approaching 200. Only 2 more episodes to do, and then it will be episode 200. I can't get our other co-host, Tuck, to confirm or deny the idea that we have spitballed, so I'm just going to say it flat out. We are going to bring back the Forbidden Door concept, AEW versus WWE. And we did this, I believe, in 2019 when Ian was just a listener. Ian was a college student when you heard that episode, weren't you?
I was, and I was very upset I was not able to partake. I did, however, because I think I had a screenshot of all of the rosters you guys chose, and I compared them to today, and there are some names on there that are just wild. Maybe
now.
I'll try to find that picture, or if you have it, we could post it on as a little warm up to what we're going to be doing. But
yeah,
it's very funny to compare what it is today in today's culture.
Yeah, so 5 years removed from that hypothetical AEW versus WWE Forbidden Door podcast, we are going to bring it back for episode 200. And a little special treat, we're not going to bring back every single former guest because that is a lot. We've had a lot of guests on this show. But a select few, we will extend an invitation to come on the show and give us one dream match for Forbidden Door AEW versus WWE. So if you'd like to be a part of that, please reach out to us. But Ian, after 2 PLE/pay-per-views, an hour and 15 talking wrestling, I think it's about time we sign off. So shout out to everybody that tuned in live. Shout out to Kine for winning the MVM. And thank you everyone for listening to the On the Mark Wrestling Podcast.